Welcome back. I'm Kimberly. She's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec. Now, we're having a dilemma about what we will describe as our topic today. So what we've written down is that when do you draw the line between the use of old processes and new ones? And we're trying to incorporate not just processes but methods or technologies. So bear in mind that this is about drawing the line between old and new, for want of a better phraseology. And my start out example is with an organisation that I'm working with at the moment who are geographically well and truly dispersed across New South Wales, the managing committee for that organisation, and have in the past relied on ringing one another on the phone or having what turned out to be quite expensive face-to-face meetings by bringing everyone to the one place for a meeting, determining what progress and what processes and what methods they would use at those particular meetings. They were having them 4 times a year, so in between those meetings there was a lot of emails or a lot of phone calls that went around. Not everyone was privy to everyone else's experience, as happens in that sort of a process. And so what we introduced about over 12 months ago now was the use of some technology that is cloud-based, that is basically a system of spreadsheets. It's called AirTable. So those of you who haven't had exposure to it, there's a free version and there's paid versions. What it means is that the information can be set up on the AirTable, on the spreadsheet, and everyone can be an editor. So everyone can add information or adjust information, and you can see a history of what changes have been made. So you know who's made the changes and what changes they made over a period of time. So that's been in place, and it's been in place to organise activities that this group runs. It's been there for a membership record, because one of the things that they struggled with continuously was updating their membership lists, because it had been done in all sorts of different ways. Although people are expected to pay their membership at a certain date every year, they offer a special deal so that it extends the initial membership period, and so the members themselves were getting confused about when their membership was due, and there was no record really of when didn't give an indication of the year of when the next membership was due for some people, all those sorts of things. But when spreadsheets and databases get handed around from person to person individually, and different machines and different versions of the software, all of those things, that the records get corrupted in one way or another. So we brought it all into this using this Airtable system, different tables for different activities. What has transpired now after 12 months is that probably half the group will use it and half are really hesitant about using it. Will use it if I insist that they use it, and they understand the reasons for it, and they appreciate the reason is that at any time of the day or night they can go on to the Airtable and they can see what stage a particular activity is at. So it's very powerful in terms of communicating to the whole group at the same time what is happening, but they're not comfortable with using the technology, worried in some cases that they'll make a mistake, that they'll break it in some way, and it doesn't seem to matter how often I show them and tell them that they can't break it, that I can fix it if it looks like it's not working the way it should, that there isn't anything they can do that will destroy the system to the point that would take us back to what it was like 5 years ago. That works up to a point, but I'm now at the stage where I need to decide, is it time for me to draw the line in the sand and say we're not using the phone calls, we're not using the emails anymore, we're going to use the Airtable, and this is the way that you will communicate with one another so that everybody knows what everyone else is saying or doing.
Listening to this, I believe you've done all the main things that one should do when they're looking. So firstly, you have a process that's been in place and a method for a while. It's been working not very well because the opportunity for error in it was very high. Handoff in the process was enormous, and therefore it was bound to get corrupted. You involved people, you found a solution, an off-the-shelf technology solution that will work and make everybody's life easier. you communicated, you trained, and the benefits way outweigh the negatives. In this case, it's just a matter of people's confidence and taking that. I think it is much more dangerous to keep both of them running because you're going to end up with more problems. I think the best way is to say, this is your last opportunity to come on board yourselves, but in a week's time, the other one is gone, and this is what we've got. I think if you don't, you're going to have more problems, and it's really more about once people start using it, it's like with any change, but particularly with technology, they will see the benefits more by using it, not by sitting there being scared of it. I think there's a reason why you went that way. It's because what was there is not working and causing a lot of trouble. So yes, it gets to a point, whether it's in this example or any other example, where you say, we won't be doing this anymore. It's got to be a firm line of saying, not if you like or when you're ready, it's now. There is a changeover. It's like with any business decision. You come up with terms and conditions, and sometimes some of the old terms might be better, but as an organisation you make a decision to go with new contract, new terms and conditions, new systems, new methodology, whatever it is, and there will be a start date. You have to put that in place.
One of the relevant examples that we went through here in New South Wales very recently is the change from plastic bag use in supermarkets.
Oh yes.
So let's look at the beginning of this year, when it was first proposed that on the 1st of July supermarkets would not give away plastic bags. Well, the three main supermarkets, so let's say IGA, Woolworths and Coles. Aldi never have used bags, and so there was a percentage of the population who were used to taking their own bags or their own containers already. The change obviously was promoted on the basis of its environmental values, and the companies took great pride in promoting the fact that they were going to be environmentally aware and responsible and not have plastic bags. The advertising campaign intensified as the date got closer. What happened with one of those brands was that the outcry and the complaints from their customer base meant that they changed the date for implementation. It drifted a little bit further, whereas the other two didn't. And interestingly, because I've had experience with all of them, I can say that with my local IGA, that they started, the local people, local checkout chicks and boys, started doing intense local education about the changeover about 2 weeks before, because we were just used to going up to IGA and just picking up whatever was the emergency supplies. And they would start to say, you know that we won't be able to give you a bag. And that was about probably 3 weeks out. They'd say, I'll put it in a bag today, but you won't get a bag in 3 weeks' time. And then in 2 weeks before, they would say, do you want a bag or not? And the week before, they didn't even offer the bag, even though it was still in the period of time where they should have been giving the bags away. Their management decision for the staff there was that don't offer the bag. We'll draw the line and start educating them that they're not going to get a bag unless they pay for it at that point. Coles, completely different situation. They reacted to the customer base complaining about not getting their free bags, having to pay for their bags, and so they extended the period of time that the free bags were on offer before they started to charge for the bags. And I just think it's interesting that here are 4 very large global organisations, not IGA so much, but big organisations, 4 completely different approaches to the same issue. One that just says, you're not going to get them. Didn't stop people shopping at Aldi. People don't look at Aldi and say, I'm not going there because you don't get a bag. Yeah. They'll say lots of other things about Aldi. I'm an Aldi fan, so I'm not going to say them. But it doesn't stop them. It's just one activity in a range of things that happens in a supermarket. For those of you who do stand in the supermarket line, how often have you heard someone say, if you're in New South Wales, I've got 100 bags in the car, I just got to bring them out. Now, why does an organisation and why does the environment have to suffer because this person individually can't be responsible enough to remember?
And I think in a corporate sense, you have to show leadership by taking a decision and sticking by it. You can reverse it. We often say we're going to open an office here and an office there. We trial it. We've done our homework and it worked, but then the point changed or the environment changed or the situation changed and we have to move. That's fine. I respect that. But I think once you decide, it's a bit like doing a survey and then saying, oh, well, but 20% said they don't like this, so I'll shave that off. 20% said, oh, you'll end up with nothing or you end up with a worse situation. So you've got to show leadership. And if you're doing it for the right reasons, then you stick by it and you put an end date to the old and start date for the new.
For me, the summary is that yes, you have to draw a line. You have to say this is the end date.
Yeah.
But in choosing the end date, you have to be sure that you've provided all of the opportunities for learning
Yes.
that can take over the new process, and that people understand that even if the new process doesn't work, it's not the end of the road, and it doesn't mean that if the new process doesn't work long term that we're going back to the old one. We're just going on to a different one.
So we go back to continuous improvement,
Yes.
which is really what it's, you go to better, not worse.
Or the same. Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so there we go. You do have to draw the line, and you do have to ensure that the processes, whatever you're using, are continually reviewed. I'm Kim Bailey, she's Fulyana Osborne, and this is Inside Exec.